Welcome to season 3 of What's on My Needles. I know I only started this channel less than a year ago. Yes, it is still season 3. And I've decided to change up how I do things a little bit. So the first several episodes will be based off of one project, and then I'll skip to another project. So that way you will be able to see everything from start to finish. But before I introduce this episode's project, I'm going to share with you that I got a sponsor. And my sponsor is my stylist for Color Street. So this is the current set of nails. This is called Bloody Gorgeous. These took me super short period of time to wear or to put on, and you will see over the next couple episodes how well they stay on. But on to what we're really here for. We are here for knitting demos. And I'm working on this little guy. So this little critter currently does not have a name. The working name is Baby Minion or Baby Dragon. And he has 4 little feet. He has a full set of wings and a tail. And of course his head with eyes. The pattern that will be available shortly has these colors. What I'll be working in, purely for the sake of photography, is blue instead of purple and gray instead of black. Because it's really hard to see black stitches. It's really hard to see black versus purple stitches on camera. So let me get situated and I'll get started. Please remember to like, follow, and subscribe to these social media platforms. Links will be provided in the description below. So I'm all set up, and the first step on the baby dragon is in fact their wings. So the wings are worked from this leading edge all the way around to the back. There's some color work, there are some short rows, but let's get started. So I'm going to take my gray yarn because the gray on this is the equivalent of the black. I do have my pattern in front of me, which is why my hand is going across the frame on occasion. So I'm going to go ahead, I've done a slip knot and I'm going to do a cable cast on, or a knit on cast on. I've seen both phrases attributed to this style of cast on. Going to insert as if to knit, pull through a loop, and place the loop on the needle. So again, insert the needle, pull through a loop, place the loop on the needle. And that's just worked all the way across. 4, 6, 8, 9, one more stitch. I tend not to count as I cast on. I tend to do or cast on a lot of stitches and then go back and count. So I'm knitting across. This is a wrong side row. So the ridge that I'm making will be on the front or the upper side of the wing. There is no front or back on a 3D critter, but it will be on the upper side of the wing. And my needle slipped out. So now I'm going to start with the color work. So the blue is replacing the purple. So I'm going to slip a stitch. So for me, what that means is insert as if to purl, slip the stitch off, and I'm going to move the yarn to the back. And then I'm going to knit 1 stitch. That's to create the look of where a bone would be on a dragon if they were real. So with the purple, or with the blue, I'm going to be knitting across. And then we are into short rows. Now, short rows are very scary for a lot of people. They're a little funky to work, but they're not that bad. So I'm going to slip the stitch. I'm not going to move the yarn to the back because this is a purl row. And I'm going to purl 5, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to wrap the next stitch. So I'm going to bring the yarn to the front of the work, pull it around the stitch, flip the stitch back around, and turn the work. And knit across. And I'll do that row one more time. So I'm going to slip the first stitch. I'm going to purl 1, 2, 3 this time. Then I'm going to move the stitch to the back side of the needle, which is the right side of the work. Slip the next stitch, pull the yarn back through the hole, put the slip stitch back on, and turn the work. And then we're almost done with this very first short row section. So I'm going to only purl 1 this time, and then wrap and turn, then knit back. Now, hiding the wraps. This is where a lot of people get really confused, really frustrated. And frankly, my first couple times I was getting really confused and frustrated too. So I knit a little funny. So I actually have to do a couple extra steps in here that most people won't have to do. Most of the time, you'll just be able to pick up the wrap and it will lie nicely right there. If I did that, my wrap would be on the wrong side of the work. So I have to rearrange my loop versus my stitch and then purl them together. But again, you're wanting your loop to be on the wrong side of your work, whatever that takes, and to purl, to purl. Now, this is a slightly confusing portion of the pattern. So I say turn, not wrap and turn, because I'm not continuing with the blue, and then with the gray, I'm working across. And this is continuing that row of 2 stitches that I did at the very beginning of the short row section. So I'm going to tug on the yarn a little bit to get it evened out. But now I have a complete row of gray across the top. I'm going to slip, and then I'm going to knit all the way across so that there's a ridge, like there would be for the bone of a dragon wing. Work all the way across. And when I get to this edge, I'm going to make sure that I'm not twisting that stitch. And I'm going to repeat that same short row pattern 2 more times. And doing that will get me to here, and I will be right back. If you would like to help fund this page, please find me on Patreon at Theatrical Crafts. Welcome back. And so at this point I have done all 3 of the short row sections, and I'm going to start working on the decreases. So when I look at the original, the wing gets slightly smaller going towards the body. Now this is all color work, so I'm gonna, like I've been doing all along, slip 1, and then I'm gonna knit 1, and I'm gonna bring the blue yarn up and over the gray when I pick it up, and then I'm gonna knit across with the purple. going to turn and purl all the way back until I get to those two gray stitches in this case. In the pattern they are black. Again, twist that yarn again. Put the gray to what is now the back of the work and knit the last two. So that little twist together is really important with this style of color work. So this style is Intarsia. Most people know either Intarsia or Fair Isle. Fair Isle is stranded and Intarsia is one color at a time. So again, I twisted them together. I'm going to knit across. And it's going to continue basically like this all the way to the end of the wing. So I'm not going to bore you too much longer. There is a decrease that happens at the end of the row twice to decrease from 10 stitches down to 8. Now the left wing is made almost identically, except you're going in the opposite direction. So everything that's been a knit is going to become a purl and vice versa. So that first row would be a purl row and so on. But that's how the underside looks. That's how the upper side works. And I will see you back next week when I get to the next step. Bye. This video was sponsored by Sam Cardenas, my stylist at Color Street. To find a link to my party through her, please check the description below.